Right, hello and welcome back to Jamie's Running. Today I would like to talk to you a little bit about Strava. Let's get into it. Now, for full disclosure, before we get into it, this video is sponsored by Strava. I've been using the app for 3 or 4 years now whilst I've been running. They recently got in touch and asked me to put together a video of the key features and things that I really enjoy about using Strava. Now, as we're heading into the colder, wetter, darker months, it's that time of year where it's often difficult to try and find motivation. Getting up and out of bed at 5:30, it's pitch dark outside, it's raining sideways. The last thing that you often want to do is to throw on some running shoes and head out the door and face the elements. Personally, I find autumn and winter a time where I can get one step ahead of the game by getting out there and getting it done while everyone else is asleep. By the time that spring rolls round, I feel like I've got one up on the competition and I'm raring to go as we head into the lighter mornings and towards the summer once again. Now, there often aren't as many races throughout the autumn and winter, particularly this year with the whole COVID situation. And so it often doesn't really feel like there's anything to be working towards. One thing that I've found that really helps me during this period is using Strava. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what Strava is, it's an app or website that can be used to track your activity. I mainly use it for running using GPS data. It's also really popular with cyclists and swimmers, but it can track a whole host of other exercises as well. It provides a platform to monitor your progress over time, but it also allows you to share that progress with friends, family, and other like-minded athletes. It gives a little bit of an element of competition with friends, particularly when you aren't able to run together, like has been the case through much of this year. So the app itself incorporates a lot of social networking features. You can scroll through not only your own activities, but the activities of your friends or other athletes around the globe. So there are a few key features which I personally use to track my running progress over time. And so I want to talk a little bit about those now. So looking back and scrolling back through a calendar, through days, weeks and months to see perhaps how you were running 5K back in the past versus how you're running 5K now. When I recently looked back at my very first 5K run in May 2016, I ran a time of 25 minutes, so averaging 5 minutes a kilometre. Fast forward to now, and I've recently hit a 5K PB of 16 minutes and 55 seconds. So being able to compare where I was 4 years ago to where I was now and track that journey over time, I find really valuable. So it's very quick and easy just to scroll back through those months, see how many activities you've done in a month, see how many activities you've done in a year, see how many miles you've run in an entire year, and that sort of thing, which as a data geek, I find that sort of thing really fascinating. Another key feature that I really like are the virtual challenges. So each month I'll sign up to a handful of challenges, and one may be a distance challenge. So how many miles can I run in a month? Another might be to run at least one half marathon in a month. And each time you complete one of those challenges, you get a virtual finisher's badge, and that gets stored on your Strava profile. And again, it's quite nice to just look back over all of those badges that you've achieved over time. So another challenge that Strava have just created is the Last of the Light challenge. So the whole purpose of this is to inspire and motivate people to get out there and get it done throughout November, as we've got those darker mornings and those darker nights. So for this, Strava are inviting people to upload at least 12 hours of activities during the month of November. And when you complete and upload 12 hours, that's when you get that virtual finisher's badge. It's another one of those challenges that I'll be using to motivate me to get out of bed when my alarm goes off at 5:30 every morning for my daily run. Right, on to the next key feature, and something that I find myself referring to fairly regularly since I have quite a vast array of shoes in my rotation. And that is something as simple as tracking how many miles I've run in a pair of shoes. Every time I upload a run on Strava, I go into the run, edit it, and add which shoes I've been using for that run. What I'm then able to do really quickly is go into my profile, go into my list of shoes, and see how many miles have been clocked up against each individual pair of shoes. I then know whether I've run 50 kilometers in a shoe or whether I've run 800 kilometers in a shoe, and therefore it's probably around about time that I bought some more. Something really simple, but again, it's just something that I find myself referring to fairly regularly. I really love the element of competition as well. So we may not be able to run together with friends, but even virtually covering a distance and being able to see how many miles a friend has run in a day or a week or a month or whatever, and comparing it to your own progress. You can give kudos, which is a thumbs up to your friends for each run that they've completed. And I think it just creates that really cool element of community. But even with runners that you don't know personally, but you've become connected to them somehow because you run a similar route, and each time one of you completes a run, you give the other one a thumbs up, and that just gives you that little bit of motivational boost, I think, to go out and get more runs done. And that leads in quite nicely to my all-time favourite feature, and that is something called segments. So a segment is a little bit how it sounds. It's a segment or section of a given route. So it might be from the end of your street to 500 meters down the road. And each time you complete that route, you get a time in Strava to tell you how long it's taken you to cover that distance. You can see how many times you've done that route in the past. You can see how fast you're doing it compared to how fast you've done it in the past. You get medals for covering that segment in your fastest time. So say the fastest you've ever covered that distance is 2.5 minutes. Then all of a sudden one day you go out and run it in 2 minutes and 25 seconds. When you finish your run and upload your activity to Strava, you'll have a little gold medal that shows you've got your personal best on a given segment. And that is really great as a motivational boost once you've finished a run to show just how well you've done over a given section. But it's not always about running fast over a given segment. So fairly recently, Strava introduced something called local legends. And a local legend is somebody who has covered that segment the most amount of times in 90 days. So for example, there's a route that I cover really regularly, and over the last 90 days, I think I've done a given segment about 60 or 70 times. And so I've got the local legend badge, which, just like a crown, it's something that I'm really proud to have in my virtual medal cabinet. I'll often use segments to really challenge myself. There's loads of segments around near where I live. Some I've created myself, some that other people have created, and I know offhand where quite a lot of them are. And so what I'll find myself doing is, as I'm approaching the start of a segment, I'll really kick into gear and push for a given segment just to try and beat my time from my last run or the run before, and really just to push myself that little bit harder over that section of my run. Not only do you get to challenge yourself over a given segment, but there's a global leaderboard as well. So I may have completed a segment in 2 minutes and 25 seconds, but one of my neighbours or another runner that lives nearby has covered it in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And so they're straddling the top of the leaderboard, and for that they get to wear a virtual crown, and everybody wants a virtual crown, or I certainly know that I do. And for that very reason, I often find myself going out segment bagging. So there's quite a lot of segments around here, like I've said. So what I'll have to do is I'll build myself a route on the Strava route builder, which covers off as many of those segments as I can. And I'll go out and try and get the crown on each. And when somebody comes along and whips that crown away, you get a gut-wrenching email. And that happened to me yesterday morning. An email dropped into my inbox with the title, "Uh-oh, Jeff has just taken your crown on a segment just around the corner." And that was my day ruined. But what it's actually done is it's planted a seed in my head, and I know that sometime within the next few days or weeks, I'm going to lace up my fastest shoes and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to take that crown back from Jeff. And particularly during lockdown, I've found I've been playing segment tennis. So beating somebody on a segment, then they come back and beat me a couple of days later. So I go back a little bit faster and take it a day after that, and then they come back. And it gets to a point where you're having a bit of banter on Strava with somebody that you don't even know, but lives somewhere in the vicinity, that you're just racing each other virtually days apart over a given section of road. Right, so I've got Strava open on my laptop here. So what I thought I'd do is show you how I use segments to go out and explore. So from my profile, I go into Segment Explore, and I'm able to zoom in on my local area and see which segments are in the vicinity of wherever I am. So what you'll see here is every red line is a different segment, and as I zoom in or zoom out, more segments appear or disappear from the screen. So what this often makes me want to do is to go out and explore new segments. So for example, if my usual running route takes me over here and off the screen somewhere, if I've suddenly noticed there's a segment down here, I might one day take a slightly different route and run down here just to see if I can get myself a new crown. And by clicking on a segment, you can see who is the current crown holder. So you'll see I'm the current crown holder on here, but up here somewhere, there's somebody else. I'm 49 seconds behind the crown holder. Now, there's one particular segment which I am keen to get the crown. I've tried a couple of times, but I am 6 seconds behind the current leader. And this is one of those segments that have eluded me for so long, and I'm really keen to get that crown. So what I'd really like to do is next time I go for a run, I'd like to take you out with me while I have another attempt on that segment. So I will see you next time I'm lacing up those running shoes. let's go see if we can bag ourselves a segment. Let's go. Right, so this is the segment that I'm interested in, and that point just there, where that lamppost is actually the finish line. And the start of the segment is a little under 800 meters in that direction. So it's a 0.77 kilometer segment. It's uphill and there's a road crossing right in the middle, so it's a little bit tricky, and I know that I need to be holding a pace of 3 minutes and 21 seconds in order to try and get that crown. Now, it's not a great day for it. The wind is going this way, so it's going to be a bit of a headwind coming up, but we're going to give it a go anyway. But here's that road crossing I was talking about, and it's tricky if you hit it just as the car is coming, as you can see. Very busy road too. And now the start of the segment is around about where that lamppost is, I think, based on the map, the segment Explorer on Strava. So what I'm going to do is another few meters up here and turn around and get a run at it and give it a really good go. Are you ready? Alright, here goes. I'll see you at the finish. Oh man, that was absolutely savage. From 500 meters on, you just really start to feel that incline. And I don't know if I've got the segment. I did look at my watch partway through it, and my pace was sub 3 minutes a kilometer, but it really slowed in the last couple of 100 meters. So it remains to be seen whether or not I will take that crown. Oh man, that was really tough. Now the thing about segments is there's now a period of eager anticipation, because it's not until you get home and finish your run, stop your watch and wait for the run to upload into Strava, it's not until then that you found out whether or not you've managed to get a segment. So I'm now in that period of limbo, just waiting to see. I'm going to do a bit more of a run before I head home. Well, that's my solid effort for the day. Whew. And that is it then. Right, so that is a little over 6.5 kilometers. Fairly easy going overall, apart from that one big effort for the 800 meter segment. So what I need to do now is to get inside, sync my watch with the Strava app and wait for the moment of truth. Did I get the crown, or have I missed it again? I know that in order to get the crown I have to knock 6 seconds off my last attempt, which was good enough for third place, 6 seconds behind the leader. Will today's effort take me to the top of the leaderboard? Let's find out. Right, so here I am back indoors then, and ready for the grand reveal. I feel like I need some sort of dramatic drum roll. So let's go into Strava. In fact, I'll bring you in so you can see it as I'm seeing it. That looks promising. Yes! So I got it, blasted up the path, 0.77 kilometers in a time of 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which is an average pace of 3 minutes per kilometer. So I am absolutely buzzing with that. So I knew I needed to hold a pace of around about 3 minutes and 21 a kilometre. I did check my pace on my watch as I was heading up the hill, and probably at about the halfway mark, and it was showing me at somewhere a little under 2 minutes and 50 a kilometre. So I was really giving it some at that point. I wasn't really sure where I started in terms of pace, and I'm not sure where I finished as I was getting up towards the top of that segment. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. I will put on my virtual crown and I will wear it with pride. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that sort of good stuff, and I will see you next time. Yo!